Welcome traveler to the second episode of the Eden Spec series. If you're new here, I suggest you watch the first episode to have a background of what we are going to explore for this mission. In the previous episode we only explored just the surface of the world using the Mithra exploration probe, which unexpectedly burnt up in the atmosphere. Now in our second voyage, we have armed our probe with a lander which would aim to one of Eden's titanic oceans to collect data on the wondrous processes occurring within the microscopic realm. As we venture into the Mithra system, we are blasted with rays of radiation from the sun, but our probe endures the trouble. By using the gravity assist of the star, we are able to slingshot ourselves towards Eden, and in just a year we finally reach the planet. After having an orbital correction, we have a stable orbit around Eden. As we scan Eden's surface, we discover that the planet has evolved life. Now that we have confirmed the occurrence of life, we now enter the second stage of this mission, deployment. As our tiny probe begins to enter the atmosphere, it endures the heat and splashes down into the ocean, where it begins to scan for data. Life on Eden originated in the abyss of the deep sea, feasting on the chemical soup ejected from hydrothermal vents caused by the common volcanic activity on Eden. The first official forms of life were simple unicellular organisms similar to Earth bacteria. Life was simple for billions of years, but one small microbe changed history. This microbe would have evolved photosynthesis, which at first seems like a great way to get energy from their environment, but photosynthesis generates oxygen as a byproduct, which was lethal to microbes, to which evolved to live in anoxic environments, which in turn caused the first mass extinction of Eden, similar to the great oxidation event that occurred on Earth around 2.4 billion years ago. The few survivors who were able to adapt to this new world would have evolved to metabolize oxygen, which was more efficient than the ways their ancestors used. Over the span of billions of years, these two groups would increase in biodiversity and eventually become multicellular organisms, which would grant them the ability to fill in many more niches their ancestors couldn't fill in now that oxygen was useful and plentiful. Descending from the photosynthesizers are the phytoprimus. Phytoprimus use a yellow pigment for photosynthesis. Phytoprimus have a single oval-shaped leaf running down to the base of the stem, giving them a paddle-like appearance. Phytoprimus are widespread, and these plants are the beginning of the Flora dynasty. Descending from the oxygen metabolizers are the rotunmis. The rotunmis are circular animals, which have one foot in the bottom of their body, in which they use to slide around the ocean floor. Rotunmis don't have any eyes, but instead only possess sensitive tissues on their face that they use to sense light. Rotunmis feast on microbial mats, and these organisms mark the beginning of the Animalia dynasty. Finally, after a long mission of recording these fascinating organisms, our mission comes to an end. This now marks the second episode of this series.